And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're taking a look at a game called Kharnage. This is a game from Devil Pig. You may have known them because they previously did a game in conjunction with Yellow, Heroes of Normandy, which was a game based on World War II. And then, of course, they added Cthulhu to it in a sequel game. But this game is not about that. This is a fantasy game in which the object of the game is carnage. The object of the game is just to kill as many of your opponent's units as you possibly can. You're fighting over a meaningless hill, and you're just going to kill. Okay, that may not be like the selling point for some people, but some people that's going to be interesting too. Let's take a look. See this hill? This is what you're fighting over. And there's going to be 4 different armies that are fighting over it. Humans, dwarves, goblins, and orcs. And each player is going to get a deck of these cards, as well as a handful of order cards, and possibly a hero card. So this is a leader card here. And each player is going to start the game. I'm going to show you a little bit of how the game is played, but I'm not going to set everything up. But each player is going to start with a big fat 0 card in front of the hill. Now this card tells you a couple things. It tells you how many reinforcements you're going to have. So in this case, there's going to be 5 reinforcements. So you'll take 5 cards off the top of your deck, and you're going to bring these cards out. Now this one here has 2 attack. It's a 3 defense here that you can see on this card. It shows that it's in the middle line. That's what this means here. And it has 2 melee attack, and it brings out 1 more card. So when I place this, I'm going to draw another card into my reinforcements pile. So then the next card here, these guys are in the front line, no special ability. They have 2 attack and 3 defense. I'll put them in the front line. This person's in the middle line. Then my next card here, these guys have 1 attack. They're in the front line. They have 1 defense, but a shield means it takes 2 normally to take them out. So I just put them like this. Then the next card here, another one of those guys for the front line. Then my next card, this guy has 1 magic attack, which is melee or ranged. He has 4 attack, and he's in the middle line, so he goes here. And then this character here is also in the middle line, and they have 1 ranged and 1 melee attack. So this would be my starting army that I have here. And each player is going to have a starting army. There's a middle, a front, and a rear line for each of the people. Most of the cards are going to be in one of the 2. I'm just running through the set here. You can see these archers, if they showed up, would be in the rear line in the back. So each round of the game, and there's only 4 rounds of the game, each player is going to look at the numbered cards that they have. And you have more numbered cards in rounds of the game. You're only going to play 4 of these cards. You're going to pick one of these and place it face down. Everyone's going to reveal them simultaneously. Then whoever has the lowest numbered card is going to go first. So when it's your turn, you're going to do everything on your card. So here I'm going to add 4 reinforcements. The first 3 have to be from my deck. The 4th one can be from my deck, or I can play one of my leader cards if I have one from my hand. Most leader cards, when you play them, are going to instantly have more reinforcements come with them. Also, many cards, when you play them, have, if you notice, there's these symbols here behind these attacks. This is a magic, which is melee or ranged. This means surprise attack. So when this card comes out, I'm instantly going to do 3 damage to my opponent. So if I was attacking myself here, for example, I could say, boom, these guys are gone. 3, and I take that card and put them in front of me. I could also have killed these guys here. That takes 2 to kill them. And so each player is going to go through that. Now, if I had played this card, all my attacks would ignore shields this turn. Each time you play a card, there's a possibility that there's going to be special abilities. This lets you attack again. And each side is going to have different special abilities. So as you're playing cards from your deck, you will then likely, your card is going to tell you to make a melee, a ranged, or multiple attacks. So here I make a melee attack. If I play this one, I'll make a melee and ranged attack. Here I'll make a ranged attack twice, etc., etc. When you make a melee attack, you simply will add up the melee of all your units that you have in front of you, and then you will make that attack against your opponent and just start destroying their units. You have to start with the frontline units, then you go to the middle units, and then to the rear units. When you destroy units, you put them in front of you. If you destroy every unit in an opponent's army, you get a Kharnage token. Yell, Kharnage, grab this token. It's worth 1 point at the end of the game. That doesn't mean they're out of the game or anything. It just means you destroyed all their units for that round. If there's multiple players, then you can split your damage between 2 players. So let's say I do 15 damage. I can do 8 damage to 2 different players. It's rounded up, so it might even be worth it to do that. If there's multiple players, you can only attack the players next to you with melee attacks. You can attack other players with ranged attacks or with magic attacks, which are both melee and ranged. When you're finished with your turn, then the next highest number goes. So even if your army's destroyed, your card will probably bring out more forces, and then they will attack. And so let's just do a quick look here at some of the other armies. Some units do special abilities, like this spider shoots a web on a opponent's units, meaning that they can't work. So you can see here, these are some of the goblin units that are in the game. And the artwork here is really fun. I mean, this guy has a dynamite, basically. They're going to be destroyed to do damage. And a lot of the units are just normal attacks, but some units have the shields on them, and some units will have surprise attacks. So that's the goblins. Let's take a look here at the orcs. There's some of the orc leaders, the green fat guy. The orcs also have this giant card, which when you draw one half of it, you search your deck for the other half, and he's in 2 lines here. He has a bag of piggies to keep himself fed. Just a huge giant creature with a special ability of basically just being able to kill one enemy unit every turn. So the orcs here have all sorts of cool things, mean, nasty looking greenies. And then we have the dwarves. Here we got dwarves riding bears, which is a great concept. And so the dwarves will have, each army is very, very different, but they have weak units, they have strong units, and they have special abilities that they can use. Like the dwarves have some nice ranged, the triple revenge cannons here. And some of them can even go get drunk and disappear and not be involved in a battle for a round. So each round, after everyone has played their card, then you see who's killed the most units. Whoever's killed the most units is going to get a 5 skull token. The second most units gets a 3 skull token, and the third most units a 1 skull token. And then you go to the next round. All the forces are out there, stay out there, and you continue to do this round for 4 rounds, and at the end of the 4th round, whoever has the most tokens, the most points, is the winner of the game. Now, the artwork in this game is really silly fun. I mean, I showed you a lot of the pictures there. The artwork is really great. I mean, and you have all these cool units out there, and the 4 armies have a very different look to them, which is good because they also have a very different feel to them. The goblins have a bunch of little units, as you might expect. The orcs have big, giant units. The dwarves have fewer units, but have more abilities that can hit the opponents, and then humans are kind of, well, normal, as they are in every game. The game is very, very short. And I really think this is going to be a divisive game. I enjoyed the game, but I enjoy it as kind of a lark, right? It's an entertaining game. It's a lot of fun to play, but you are literally making only a few choices over the course of the game. You are making 4 choices, as in the cards. When you play a card, you can decide whether to put out your leader or not, which is once per game, except I think the goblins have 2 leaders. Someone has 2 leaders. And then when you attack, you decide which units to kill, but since you're killing in the front line, you have a certain number of points, it's usually automatic what you kill. You kill the most dangerous stuff first, or the stuff that you can afford to kill, etc. So the game is not a heavy game by any means. However, the game also takes 20 minutes, sometimes even faster, especially if you're playing with 2 players. So that speed is what makes the whole silliness. I mean, you will literally, the game's name, Kharnage, is totally correct, because you're just going to see forces killed all over the place. Dead, 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 dead. And, and you're supposed to put all the dead units on that hill in the middle, so I guess it's piling up. Oh, look at all these units that were killed. The strategy of the game is, like I said, few decisions, but there is some choices to make, and you're trying to outguess your opponent. Do I play a low card? Do I play a high card? Sometimes you want to go first. Sometimes you want to go last. If you go first, for example, let's say I have 4 units out there, I probably want to go last. You can destroy my army. What do I care? But then I'm going to come on board, and I have a chance to kill more units. If I only have 4 guys out there, the most you can kill is 4, and then I'll probably win. Yeah, you'll get a Kharnage token, but if I come in, I get the 5-point token, and you get the 3-point token and the Kharnage token, I'm still ahead in that regard. And so there's some interesting choices we made there, and they did a good job at making the different armies asymmetrical. Number of players is interesting, because the ranged attack doesn't mean as much in a 2-player game. since it just basically means it's an extra different kind of attack, right? In a multiplayer game, you can attack anyone. But then a multiplayer game can also devolve into attack him because he's winning, or I'm going to attack the easiest person that I can because I'm trying to get as many kills as I possibly can. And that's fine. A multiplayer game of this works well, but I think it plays best as a two-player game. Get out the forces, and it's just nonsense, all right? And sometimes I don't like nonsense games, but this one I do. I don't know what it is. I find it, I mean, granted, the artwork and seeing a big army out there just get plastered is hilarious fun. It's quick, it's simple, it's this back and forth thing. I love to see more factions for it. I love to see more maybe ways to add leaders to the different armies, and I'm sure they exist. I'm sure that there's more stuff out there for Kharnage. But I will say I was surprised. I looked at it, I'm like, oh, this looks cool. What are the rules? I read the rules. I was like, what? Is that it? Let me try again. And so I went back and looked at it, and yeah, it really is that simple. You can see me and Melody played a game of this live on our channel, so you can watch a game of it if you want to see how a two-player game of it works. But I have to say I'm pleased by the game. Yeah, it's not going to probably win too many awards, maybe for art, but it's not, it's just a light, silly game. But sometimes I'm in a mood for some potato chips. That's kind of what this game is. If potato chips involved you killing as many fantasy units as you possibly could. Yeah, that's good stuff. Dice Tower Judgment approved.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door.